Hey people, this is Zalon here, and this is show 2 on Conversations with Zalon. See, the thing is, last show there was no name. We made it up. I just was inspired. Annabelle said that she wanted some advice from me, and I said, hey man, let's put it online because I believe that this conversation can build even more value for more people. So that's the reason why I've done it. If you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Zalon. I'm a soul artist. I'm from the UK. Yeah, I guess you'll have to go on Google and find out a little bit more. I grew up with music was always a passion of mine, and I was kicked out of a group when I was about 16 or around years old that I created. No, I was probably about 18 years old. I started a group. They were older than me. They were better vocalists than me. I was kicked out of this group for not being a strong enough singer. My vocal trainer at the time became my manager, and he gave me skills on how I could develop my voice. I then was invited back into the group, and I then was received respect within the singing community, and I opened my own vocal academy. And Albert at the time was one of my students. Since then, he's become my chosen brother. I say chosen brother because there's family you choose and there's friends that you choose to be your family. This is my chosen family. He's also my stylist as well. And he's recently made transitions. He's big in the community, helping the young youths, the young masters transition into manhood. And he's also big in the health. He's a health consultant as well. It's late in London at the moment. He hasn't been feeling 100%, but I got so excited about this new show. I was like, bro, I don't listen, please, man, just come on, let's just talk. And anytime I'm having conversation with my friends now, I'm trying to say, hey, let's not have this conversation on the phone. Let's have it online so that people can share and maybe they can add their opinions to it and build value, or maybe it can be valuable to them as well. So Albert, firstly, I just want to say you've recently made the transition from wanting to be an artist to actually being paid and doing different events all around the world recently. What has been one of your biggest challenges, and what did you do to mentally make that transition? Because I know that that's been a big thing for you.
That's a very good question, and thank you for that introduction as well, bro. And well done on your show, bro. Well done.
Thank you.
You see, the days I heard about you, I just used to hear about you via the grapevine. And you know, like when you're hearing about someone via he say, she say, and oh my gosh, there's this amazing singer, and he has another amazing brother. There was no way I could go for content. You know what I'm saying? So I had to wait till I met you. So that is like a world away from where we are now, where you can go online, and your favorite singers, your inspirations, you're able to actually get a kind of excerpt of their life. You're like a fly on the wall. If I had this when I was actually, searching, for a vocal coach, or searching for people that could actually, empower me in this area, boy, I would have done it much sooner. So well done, man. You're definitely like a beacon out here, a lighthouse. So for me, to answer that question, firstly, the first thing was choosing, choice, not based on circumstances, just choice. Like, okay, what do you want to do with your life? And then from what do you want to do with your life, who do you want to be in your life? Because you could do something, don't mean you're being the thing that you envision. So for example, you could do music, don't mean you're being an artist. You know what I'm saying? You can do music, don't mean you're being happy. You could do music, have success, and be sad. So choice was the first thing for me. Like, okay, if I could have anything in this universe, what would it be? And, to perform was one of them. It's very dear to me because I used to do it as a child often, and there was no blockages, there was no hindrance. And then from choosing, the next thing that was critical that got me here today was sharing my choice with people who can stand for me.
Right.
When I say stand, that's not just on their 2 feet. They're standing on their 2 feet and supporting me too.
Yeah.
And when I say supporting me to actually kill off those aspects of myself that actually were not consistent or did not resonate with what I was choosing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, did you finish your point?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, thank you. That was brilliant. I absolutely loved that response. What I wanted to add to that about choice and choosing was I really tried to when I go through a process of achieving something, I trace back to realize what happened to how I arrived at this point. That's just how my brain works. It just tries to break down the process steps. And I guess maybe I do it unconsciously so that I know that I can replicate it in
Exactly.
ways.
It's like Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah.
You know the story of Hansel and Gretel.
Where they got the little
the breadcrumbs or the biscuit crumbs. Yeah, exactly.
So when I trace it back, it all starts with a thought. Now it's perfect. I don't know what book it's from. My friend Chris Jones tells me that I must like, quote the books. But Chris, I don't remember it. I remember the lesson, I don't remember every single book. But they say that
forgive him, Chris.
Yeah, forgive me. So thoughts, and maybe you've heard this before, maybe you haven't, but thoughts become words. Words become actions. Actions become habits. And your habits lead you to your destiny. It's something like that. So be careful what you think, right? Now, I think I touched on this yesterday with Annabelle, just a bit, where I spoke about, I think, writing something down and putting it on your wall. What you think of yourself literally dictates where you are going to go. I had to believe that I could be an international artist before I was an international artist. I had to think it was possible. Then I had to speak it. And the issue is what some people may come up to is when you speak it, the people around you can sometimes laugh at you because you're trying to get to a space that in reality you're not in yet. They're looking at your present, but you're speaking into your future. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, because you know what it is, bro? You see that the thoughts become things, and those things become habits, and those habits create a lifestyle. That lifestyle becomes a character, and then that character becomes a legacy. If you take it that far, it's like stage by stage, step by step. It's like stages of growth. Now, the thing about it, although your body is not actually in that space, let's be very clear on this. Like, it takes time for the body to catch up to the mind. You can think a lot of things that you can't do right now, but if we stopped at what we can do right now, we would never have the inventions and the innovation we have in the world.
Exactly.
So it's important to understand that your body's not supposed to be where your mind's at. You understand? It doesn't have to be there. The mind or the heart, more so than the mind, is supposed to lead the way. And then the body actually catches up or learns how to get there. But if you don't have no vision, then you're not going anywhere, and there's nowhere for your body to catch up to, and that's what you call growth. So, for example, you see what you said regarding the thoughts. Like they talk about mindfulness and being present. That's very important. Being present is very important. But being present is not just about being present to the moment, also being present to actually your passion, your desire, your heart, what's your drive, That's even more important. So yes, you bring yourself present, but then being present to what your desire and your target is means that you can be present here, and then when you're present to your target, you're present to your destination, And just like a sat nav, you then work your way. You can actually guide your way to your destination. You get me? But you also have to be present to what your destination is, or you're not going to have a direction to go in. And the reason I say that is that I remember asking you one day, this is the first time I spoke to you on the phone. So I must have met you. I heard a lot about you before I met you, but it was like them times social media wasn't popping like the way it's popping now. I think we had MySpace. And even then, not everyone had a MySpace. So I just heard, through the grapevine, like there's this amazing singer, he's this, he's that, all this stuff. Then and when I saw you, I was like, he ain't nothing. And then, when I'm joking, and then I must have spoke to you, and obviously in my head, I had it down as, people that are at that level of their craft, it comes with a certain arrogance. That was just an assumption, but I didn't go off that assumption. I met you and I was like, wow, you would never even know who he is and who people say he is based on the way, just the interaction, the compassion. So I must ask you a question on the phone, and this response changed my life. So I was saying to you, I was like, yo, bro, like, yeah, you're great. I heard you singing. You're like, yeah, thank you so much. Da, da, da. And then you were focused on asking me, what did I want to do? You know what I'm saying? When I just kept on complimenting you, like, yeah, so what do you want to do? Like, what's your passion? What's your vision? And I was saying, but bro, like, how'd you get so good? You're like, practice. I practiced. To me, I was expecting these like elaborate, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was just born like this, My dad's a singer, my mum's a singer, my granddad was a singer, my great-great-granddad was a singer. It's just in my lineage. But you're like, practice. So already, it's like it demystified the thing for me, and all the razzmatazz went. It was like, like when thunder starts coming in, you get me? It was like, practice. Yeah. And then I said, have you always been this good? I'm expecting you to say, yeah, but I just got better. You're like, no. And it was like, that changed my life. So I was like, how can you have not always been this good? Because in my head, I thought to be a good singer, like, you've always been that good. You were like, no. I practiced. I had my vision. I knew what I wanted, and I took a step every day.
Yeah. So I want to add more value, if you don't mind me cutting in. So, as I said, I got kicked out of my group for being the weakest. I was the youngest. I was the weakest vocalist. Now, the first thing that I will say is, they say being the smartest person in the room is the dumbest thing you could ever do. It's the same as being the worst in your skill set. Being the worst in your skill set, that being singing for the purpose of this show, is the worst thing in the room, is the worst thing that you can do. At that time, I did not fully understand it, because it was so hard when I was trying to reach these notes and trying to remember harmonies. And I could see that it was frustrating the other members. It was really difficult. But what it did do is it set a bar of what it should be like, what it should sound like. It gave me something to reach for. It gave me something to strive for. And one of the biggest things that I use to help me to develop my voice, and I've probably never, like, I don't know, no, I've told people in a one-to-one, but I've never obviously spoken about this in an online space, is these. These are your biggest tools for improving your voice. But it's not just these. It is recording yourself so that you can listen to yourself over and over and over and over again. What some people don't realize is, when you listen to things, when you're practicing certain techniques and you record yourself, number one, you are separate from it. So you can get an objective view of that recording of yourself. And what you can do is you can decide, I can now make tweaks. The tweaks could be your positioning, your mouth positioning, your throat positioning, how much breath you're putting in. You can change the sound of something. And when you listen to it, you say, I might want a bit more air in this, or I might want a bit more bold, or a bit more stronger with my voice, right? Now, one of the techniques that we use, my vocal trainer at the time told me to pick, say, 3 or 5 singers, right, that you want to practice from. So at the time, I think mine was maybe Boys to Men. Now they were very vocally challenging. Boys to Men, maybe Cisco, and maybe an R&B group called like H Town or something like that. And what you would do is you would take like the first verse of a song, and you would play the first line of the first verse of that song, and you would record yourself singing exactly like that singer. And you do it again and again and again and again until when you listen back to that recording, it sounds like that singer. Now, why do you do that? The reason why is if you choose the right singers who are vocally developed in a way, they will use certain vocal techniques that you aren't thinking about. Sustaining your breath, holding a sweet tone, transitions, head voice, riffs, vibratos. They will use so many different techniques, right, on their voice. So what you would do is you would extend it. So first verse, second verse, first verse, third verse. First line, second line, third line of that verse every time you accomplish it. So once you get to a point where you're like, yeah, this sounds great, you move on to the next one, next one. Now, so that you don't sound like that singer, after you mastered that verse and that song, and you sound like that singer, you then move on to somebody else. And then you move on to somebody else, you then move on to somebody else. What that does, it's like that Daniel Son scenario, where you got the wax on, wax on. Afterwards, you have a combination of tools and skills that you'll be using from different people, you know? So that really is probably one of the most things, is listening and recording yourself, you know?
Yeah.
So, Albs, huh?
No, go on.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, you saying that you made a choice, right? What was holding you back from making the choice at that time?
I actually didn't know it was possible. You know,
and now you do know it's possible. So if you were to talk to yourself now, if you were to go back to yourself now, like, what would you say?
Just do it.
Right. And
yeah, no, I'm saying just do it, because that doesn't even come from Nike. That comes from this, I forgot his name. It's a motivational speaker. And Nike took it from him, his slogan, and now obviously it's some big multi-billion pound slogan. But what it is that I was in my own way. You know, in my heart, like a lot of people who are going to watch this video, you know what you truly are. You know it. But there's this gap between what you are and who you keep telling yourself you are. So this gap for me became so big that although opportunities came, I couldn't actually see myself. And this is why I'm saying images are so important. I couldn't see myself actually in that position. So although, yes, I felt it and I would fantasize and, you know, daydream about it, who I kept on telling myself I was and who I wanted to be were not a match.
Right.
And when there's not a match, there's a disconnect, there's conflict, there's contrast. There was a lot of contrast. So what was holding me back is that I was holding on to who I kept on telling myself I was because I was comfortable, although I wasn't happy. You know, you could be comfortable in your unhappiness.
Hey, speak it.
Yeah, or comfortable in your pain. And that's where I was, because I knew it. You know, like you've got a lot of people who are in relationships and, you know, we hear this. There's some great songs written about this.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you know, in relationships and you're not happy, but you're comfortable because you know the type of abuse you're going to get, or you know the type of disregard, or you know the type of, you know, selfishness or arrogance you're going to get from that partner. You know it. And it sometimes pains people more to step out into the unknown because you can't control that. Okay. So,
go on, sorry.
So anyway, I had to first, literally, who I kept saying I was, I had to dissolve that. Ultimately, that's where it started. you know, I became aware of what I kept on telling myself, that inner voice. And when I say that inner voice, the radio in your head that keeps on talking, you know what I'm saying? You can't do that, can't do this, you're just good at this. And then that voice, I had to catch it. And when I caught it, it's not like it just disappears. I caught it and I started doing opposite actions to it.
Right.
What happens when you take action, something special happens internally. You know, you start taking actions consistent with who you want to be, and you get closer to who you want to be, and you get further away from who you kept on telling yourself you was. And eventually you now start telling yourself you're this, because this is now the image you see in your life.
So tell me, when you started to make that transition where you started getting booked for shows and you started doing all that kind of stuff, how was the response from the audience?
It's crazy, because you see, before I'd done it, in my head, I knew I was going to do it, but then I couldn't even tell you when, so it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen. I thought that it was going to be so much more difficult. I thought it was going to be so much more harder to actually demonstrate charisma and capture people with the story I was telling through song. And to be honest, most of the shows, the people are actually just so grateful that you're sharing your gift or sharing your talent with them. That's what like blows my mind. Because I'm like that, innit? But in my head, I had a different view. I put people in a different category, you know, like almost like you got to win them over, you know? But a lot of people are just grateful that you're there sharing something that you have with them, you know, even though they're paying.
Yeah. But you
So
see, there's something that I'm very sorry to cut you. I think that there's something very powerful in what you said, because that's the approach that I take. In a sense of, when I perform, it's not about me. I'm not standing here to say, hey, listen to my voice, or how good I sing, or it's not about me. It's about collectively our shared experience. It's about us having a good time. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that there are audiences, there are artists out there who do perform and they're amazing at it, and the audience love them for that. You go and it's a spectacle. I say spectacle in the word in a loving way of saying, you know, they're fantastic, and there are elements which I could do that, but for me, I feel like it's much bigger than myself, and it's not about me. It's about us sharing
the moment.
And I feel like that is touching based on what the things that which she was talking. I found that is a very powerful thing, and I really want to highlight it more for people back home. Sometimes you can be scared to achieve your dreams or to go to the next thing, but that's sometimes because you're thinking about yourself, but it's not really about you. It's like you are offering a gift, an insight. You're offering a perspective. You're offering something that people can relate to. Something like people are stressed. People are going through so many different things, and sometimes they want to zone out. Sometimes they don't want, it's not about the best singer. They want to connect with someone. They want to be able to forget. They want to be able to detach. They want to be able to go to the gym and listen to some music, or to travel, or people, like, it's not about us. It's never about us.
Never. And
you know,
that's
one of
the main things, you know, that you see, they say, if you don't have a dream of your own, you become part of someone else's.
Yeah.
And then you see within this realm we call dreaming, you know, ideas, this is what music and creativity is about. There's another distinction called vision, you know, and you see, I heard this phrase, and this phrase really changed my life or shifted my perspective and my paradigm, which is, you don't have a vision has you. You know, so there are a lot of things we're doing in the world, you know, diverse things, people from all over the doing, but they don't get that vision didn't start with them and it won't end with them. Imagine that. Billions of people are born. They're
Break
already
it down
born.
for me, because I like it. I want to fully understand your point. So break that down about the vision thing, please.
Yeah, so a lot of people are born and they're already born into a vision.
Okay.
Yeah, they're already born. You can call it a blueprint if you want,
Right.
or a frame of perception.
Right.
Yeah. And there's a few factors. You've got culturally, you've got the family, you know what I'm saying? You've got the environment. People are already born into it, literally. And we can go on and be living our lives thinking that we're living according to our vision, and actually your life is actually in someone else's vision.
Oh my God.
I'll give you an example.
I want to give you an answer to you.
The house that you're in right now, or the house that I'm in,
Yeah.
this came out of someone's mind hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? Like hundreds of years ago, bro. That being or that person, I'm living in their vision.
Yeah.
Again, this computer I'm talking to you on now came out of someone's mind. So I'm saying, and I don't want to lose the point of music, but this goes right to music. This goes straight to music. And the reason being is because, you see, one thing that I'm very passionate about is pushing the frontier. When I say the frontier of pushing beyond the norm and creating new visions, creating new possibilities. Because you see what happens if you keep on experiencing the same thing over and over and over and there's no shift. That means, like, at that point in time, you stand still, you're stagnant, you're static, dead. But music's vibration, and vibration's life, So ultimately what we say about music is music actually is life, and life grows and expands, and that's what vision should do as well. Your vision should expand.
Yeah. So there's some really pivotal moments when we're talking about perception that is stuck out in my mind. When you said it, it triggered some thoughts. So I went from, grew up in an area that was very violent, and there wasn't many opportunities for many people like me in the area. I then worked with Amy Winehouse. I was then on the biggest stages in the world. After she passed away, that whole thing changed, right? So I then started from the beginning. I felt like it was never really the beginning, but I felt like I started from the beginning. I started playing in small clubs. Now, it was a massive shift from where I was to where I was at that point. And I basically was playing in a little bar once a month. We was getting, like, a little bit of money. We had a band, and the band that I got, they just straight out of like college or uni. You remember that time when I was playing, Albert, right? So that happened. And then I transitioned where I started going to a club where people were paying. And then I actually started going, I started touring around the world. And that was the first time I experienced that I had audiences around the world who were connecting with me. Now, my whole thing as a child was I was passionate about singing for people. The fame, the money was somebody else's idea. That was not my idea as a boy. My idea as a boy is I love singing and I want to connect. It wasn't like a representation of materialistic things. That's not what I was into. And there was a point where I had started performing and I felt good. And then I would have people who know me for many years would turn around and say, yeah, I can't wait till you actually, until you actually make it, bro, or something they said. And I said, but bro, that's your perception of what making it is. I've made it because I am living my dream, being able to do what I want, which is singing and performing around the world. And in me doing that, the project has just grown consistently because I've gone to what I'm most passionate about. So that means that when it's hard, I can still push through. When it's easy, then obviously it just continues to expand. So I've been through many ideas. Even recently, I went down to a seminar. I think I told you about it, Alps, yeah, where they had. It was a seminar for the youngsters in the music business. Now, I went down there because I wanted to know what is happening in what's fresh information. So they had many different people on the panel who were in the music business, and they were giving information. And I went down there. One of my friends was like, "Zalon, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, but you're too big to be here." And I'm like, "What do you mean I'm too big to be here? Like I'm never going to allow my ego to stop me from getting information. Like the yous are the present and they are the future. Whatever they're learning, I want to know because that's when the industry is shifting. And if I can be here," and he's like, he didn't really understand that concept because he was living in the perception of what it should mean. And I don't live in that perception of what it means to be an artist. Like I don't live personally, I don't live like, okay, I appreciate I have followers and fans and people who like me, but I'm really low key. Like nowadays, like I did want that at one point as a youngster, but now I'm really low key. Like I'm more like with my nephews and I'm more kind of, I have a more chilled life, you know? So I'm not really in that. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not really in that world like that anymore. And for me, it was about going down there and getting the information that was really, really, really important, rather than living in the idea and dissociating myself and being detached from what's currently going on. So I just second what you were saying also.
That's amazing, bro. And thank you as well, like, for sharing that. Another thing as well, King, is that one thing I realized on this journey as well is, and you know, this journey, man, it's been awesome and it's getting greater. What you said about the ears is key. That's even something I'm still working on, like these 2 ears and 1 mouth, you know? Like nature's shown us from our design, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth, you know? Meaning this is more important than this, you know, literally. And it will inform this.
Yeah.
So that's one. And number 2 is that I used to think that, you know, things have got to feel good. You know, like James Brown, I feel good.
Yeah.
Nah. Like, you see when you're training, even when you go to the gym and you're doing exercise or you're doing interval training or HIIT training, it does not feel good.
There's a saying that Chris, my friend Chris, I need to get him on this show. He said something like, somebody said to him something like, you know, people with a passion, I can't remember, but it's like saying when you're a professional, like people with a passion, they do it because they feel good or something. But when you're a professional, you do it because it needs to be done. Like it's not, you know, I can't remember it. I'm doing a disservice to the quote right now. I did a disservice.
Cut it out, bro. We get it now, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know that, you know. If I had known that, like, you know, did you ask me that question? I think you did. What would I say to my younger self?
Yeah.
Or if you did ask me that question, this is something I would say. Like, feeling good will make you waste a lifetime. Be good. You know, don't wait to feel good. Because feelings come and go just like the weather and the seasons. You know, but your being, that's something that you can generate. You know, and generating your being, that right there was, when I learned how to do that, that was a game changer for me. Because that meant that I could invest time in something that didn't feel good in the moment. However, in the investing the time in it and being good, it eventually turned that thing that didn't feel good into something that felt wonderful.
Yeah.
Because I now started developing, I developed a level of mastery or strength, you know, competency. That's what I'll say, a level of competency of it. But if I got caught up on it has to feel good, I would have never continued.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like with thrill seekers, you know, like seeking. Bro.
So I spoke with Annabelle yesterday about doing a minimum of 1 thing a day towards your goal or dream. That doesn't necessarily have to feel good, but what it does is it pushes you forward to the next step and the next stages.
Yeah.
If you are starting out, if you're listening to this and you are starting out in your career Like, I just want to just go to some of the root things. That feeling, that thought of yourself, you know, the things that you do on a day-to-day basis, the people that you keep around, that you're choosing to keep around you. Are you falling asleep, brother? Listen, it is 4 o'clock in the morning. We're going to wrap this up. So it's the people that you choose to keep around you. The not buying into the idea that you have to be something. For me personally, I would go away, work on yourself, try to be the best version of yourself. When you are the best version of yourself and you show up, it also attracts more people to you. If you can improve your voice and you can get a vocal trainer, if you can work out, you know, if you can work out on your health, your physique, you know, your clothes, try to wear nice clothes, all of these things can help create the right perception. Now, for me personally, I didn't know much about styling. Although people look at my brand now and say, oh yeah, styling. If you don't have it, go to someone who does. I felt like Albert was more stylish than me at the time. And he helped me to...
At the time.
Was you not?
At the time. Now you're gonna have problems, bro.
Now you're gonna have problems.
That's a little error. That's past.
Now,
edit that out.
Now you got competition, bro. What do you say?
I said, edit that out. That was a little part. That was a blooper. Go on.
No, boy, it weren't no blooper. We're keeping that in, bro.
Albert is more stylish than me. Full stop.
Huh?
Albert is more stylish than me. Full stop. That's what you're meant to say, bro.
No, we're gonna edit that part out.
No.
No, so basically, I'm more stylish than Albert. Because
Hater.
But if you're not stylish, find someone who is, and then become more stylish than them. That's the thing.
Hater. You remember, you know them ones, the creator, yeah, will always be superior than the creation.
Yeah.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Listen.
You hear that? Don't bite the hand that feeds you, boy.
The student becomes the master, and the master knows that. The master knows the student will never. He'll get stronger, and the master gets weaker. But it's your time. You're an old man now in the business. You're an old man. You get me?
The TV cannot be greater than the mind that created it. Remember that, bro.
No, you say that, but robots will eventually supersede humans.
Definitely not.
You don't think?
No.
Robots will listen. In the future, robots will create robots, bro.
No. Even look at Matrix, bro. The robots were still dependent on the humans, and the humans still outsmarted them.
Bro, that's a movie, bro. We're talking about real life,
bro. All right, but that was set in the future.
Let me tell you something.
And tell you why you discrediting movies though? Like movies, bro. Art imitates life. You know, life imitates art. Artists, Zalon.
Don't try it. Don't try it. don't try that. Don't try that.
So anyway, we're going to styling.
You don't go. We can say.
Yeah. So there was something you said.
I'll give you that one. Go.
No, you don't give me nothing, bro. I took it. Yeah.
I'll give you that one.
I gave it to my damn self, bro.
I might even throw in a freestyle.
I gave it to my damn self, bro. The same way I gave you style.
Listen, I might throw in a freestyling session as well, bro. I give you a trim. Yeah, go. A trim is a haircut, by the way.
Bro, I gave you that. You can have it though. Like the style I gave you, bro. Soul Man, innit? Liquid Sonic Sex.
No, you never gave me Liquid Sonic Sex.
I gave you all of that, bro.
No, you didn't, bro.
I told you, bro. That was all within the mind of the creator.
No, you're not that. No,
let me say something.
You're good, bro.
Alpha Omega. You get that?
No.
So anyway, you know when you're talking about the styling, bro. So look, a couple things is that feeling good thing that changed my life. Like I can't. This is in every area of my life.
Right.
If I got caught up on the thing feeling good, I would have never done it. And that's actually what got in the way of me doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
So I took long to do things because I was waiting for it to feel good.
Yeah.
As opposed to actually generating the being good, you know what I'm saying, from the vision. You feel me? Is that, are you going to get excited about the finish line when you get to the finish line? Or are you going to get excited that the finish line is there and you can get to it? You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, one is more functional, is that I'm excited that there is a finish line. I want to get to it. as opposed to I'm not going to be excited until I get to the finish line. Because if you're not excited until you get to the finish line, what happens? You're going to be running with worry, with concern, with anxiety. You know what I'm saying? If you're running, anxious, oh my gosh. You know what I'm saying? You know what happens? When people are anxious, they don't perform as well.
You know
There's
what?
more,
Also,
there's more dread. Pardon?
I'm going to say also, people should celebrate their wins.
Yeah, celebrate your wins. Like, because what happens when you don't celebrate your wins and you're all in that kind of anxiety, adrenaline builds up within the body and cortisol within the blood, and that literally constricts your organs. You know, so if you're not going to fight or flight, it becomes poisonous to you. You know, so a lot of us are running around with a lot of depression and stress because we're not fulfilling our dreams. We're not even, like, if you were to take one step towards your dream every single day, I'm telling you, your life will transform. Even if it was like learn one song or do one thing on social media, like something, just one thing every day and commit to it, you will watch yourself transform. That's one. And that goes for the same thing in styling. Like, you see, the approach to Zalon style is integrity, because Zalon has a brand. And you have a brand, bro. Like, there's a brand. It was there. It's always been there. The vision's always been there. It was just about taking you and matching you to the vision. You know, so your brand has to be integral because you're about authentic sound, authentic music, authentic vibration. That's what you're about. There's not many people, you know, apart from like the authentic artists who can stand up and just freestyle on the spot and make it sound better than any tune, any written tune that you sat down and done and how many takes. You know, that there shows a level of passion, skill, and dexterity for the art. But not just that, there's not many people who are about actually bringing not just a vibe, but creating an experience. So in regards to yourself, the actual formula for the styling was to actually be integral, you know, in terms of to the music, but also step out the box. And when I say step out the box, carve out your own lane as you're doing with your music. So yes, it's classic. Yes, it's high end, but it's also avant-garde. Also doing things that you wouldn't usually see things being, well, putting things together that you wouldn't usually see being put together. You know.
Brilliant. Albert, thank you so much for coming and joining us on this show. Thank you for, you didn't know much about it. You told
Nothing.
me you didn't feel well. You told me you was tired, and you
I
still
was.
came and gave us your light and your energy. I thank you and I appreciate you so much. You consistently have been there for me, and I appreciate you, bro. You're amazing. And thank you for sharing some of your experience. Hopefully, the people listening to this will be able to gain something from it. Um, for me, um, I don't really know where I'm taking the show, but I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. So I am moving with that energy. So please bear with me. If you have any suggestions, do let me know. And we're gonna be, you know, moving it as we go along. We're moving it forward. We might change the name. Conversations with Zalon. Do you like it? Share it with your friends. Tell your friends about it. Give us feedback. This is Albert Johnson. Albert, where can they find you online?
A few places. You can find me online at Raw Food Chef. That's ROAR Food Chef. You know, and that is on Instagram actually. So we have a page dedicated to health and vitality and supporting you in achieving your goals in regards to your health, optimum health in particular. You can also find me online on our website, which is called Simply Raw. That's SIMPLYROAR.com. So we have an actual site dedicated to health and getting you to achieve your health goals. You can also find me with the Soul Brothers. You can also find me at the Manhood Academy. .com, which is a rites of passage program that we have, you know, building leaders of tomorrow for a world of today. We're taking 14 young people to the Gambia to have an experience of a lifetime and for them to go through the transition of initiating them into their greatness, not the stereotype.
So people can donate to that, can't they? Where can they go and donate
Yeah,
to?
you can donate to that, and it's such an awesome cause. Why? Because it's practical. It's actually about allowing people to unpack their baggage and pick up their destiny. And you can donate to this cause at GoFundMe, Protect Our Boys. So it's GoFundMe/Protect Our Boys. But if you go into the GoFundMe site, you can just put Protect Our Boys and the fundraiser will come up. Yeah, we're raising funds to take these young masters. All the funds go towards taking them to the Gambia and actually enabling them to go through rites of passage, to connect with the culture. For some of the young masters, we call them, because they're on the road to self-mastery, it's the first time they've gone away, first time they've left the country. For others, it's the first time they've been on the continent. So it's going to be an emotional, transformational journey. And these are our children. These are our children. And if we want to have a future, we've got to invest in actually as children. That's the seed.
So please do go and invest or donate. I have donated already.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, bro.
It's my pleasure. And Albert, we thank you once again, not just for what you're doing in the community, not just for the fact that you have health programs where you're trying to help the world be more healthier, not just for helping me to decide on everything artistic, whether it's songs, etc., and also my styling. I thank you.
Thank you very much. And I just want to say thank you for being you. And I know that may be a bit cliche, but real talk. For me, you're an anomaly. And you being an anomaly has enabled other people and other beings to also feel that anomaly spirit inside of them to actually pick up the baton and be like, yeah, I'm going to do this. As I said, the day you said to me that I couldn't sing like this before, that shifted my paradigm. It opened up something new for me. And it opened up the possibility that, I can follow my dream. I can actually do this. You understand? But before that point, I had no concept. I had no concept that you could do it if you hadn't been doing it since you were a child. So thank you for that. Just these little words. This is why it's so important, because everyone comes into your life with a gift. Whether they're aware of it or not, it's up to you to open up your hands and receive. If you're holding on to opinions, or you're holding on to viewpoints, or you're holding on to a vantage point, that can actually prevent you from receiving the gift, because you're holding on to something. So your hands now are full and your hands not going to be open to receive the new that's coming into your life. So thank you, bro, for actually holding on and open up your hands to the gifts that you receive, and in turn are sharing it with the world. Shows a great idea. Keep it going, man.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for bringing your love and light, man. You take care. Thank you guys for watching Conversation with Zalon, and we'll be back soon. Take care.